Again, Mudfossil University today, trying to have people understand the difference between opals and agates. Now, this is called the most spectacular agate on earth. It's by Pulitzer Opal, and this guy went out and he acquired this 43-pound or kilogram, I'm not sure, agate that he's calling an agate. Now, I know what this is. This is a lung. Now, there is something to be said for the difference between agates and opals, and they are both transition metal complex loaded minerals. They differ in one respect, and that is the structure. So let's go into that. Okay, now what he's doing, he's showing the process of how they turn these things into gemstone quality things, and he puts it in a tumbler, and it smooths everything down, and you end up with something like this in the end. Okay, all polished up and glazed up because it's been put in that polisher.
Patterns came out great, and given the overall intense color of this specimen, this is one of my favorite areas.
All right, what you're seeing here is the tissue layers being eroded. When surgeons and doctors and everything look at tissues, they look at one layer and they see it's like a layer. Well, there's so many layers to that one layer they don't realize. But when you lay that layer flat and then you just skim just on a tiny little angle, you get layer, 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 layer. And that is what is in. It's like a tiny little skim from a single surface. It's not like you cut across and the whole thing runs down this way. No, this runs like this way, and you just skimming the surface on a tiny little angle, and that gives you all of that fibrousness of the layers. You can see one right after another, and they're separated by enough of a distance where you can see it. If you just cut this straight on, you'd see a tiny strip that you would never be able to see these dimensions to these different fabrics of tissue. It's the same effect as if you cut down across here and you looked into there, you wouldn't see anything. You'd see just line, but nothing. But if you cut like this straight across, you're going to see line, just like this. This is what's happening. They're scrubbing across the layers of tissue. So as you see this red one, that's a different tissue than this one, that's a different tissue than this one, different tissue than this one. Each one of those is another layer of tissue that goes down to a different, into a lobe of the lung, that type of thing. Okay, this is the lung sac. And this is the pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein. Now don't get confused, because this is the artery is showing as purple or blue, which is the expended blood, and usually the artery is red. Now, and they're showing them this way, and that's because they're transferring gases, and they will become correct. Now, what are these holes here? These holes, inside these holes, transfers gases. Now how does that happen? This they don't understand. They think they just bump around in here and it just accidentally blows all of this carbon dioxide out. Well, there's a whole lot more going on than that, because what is in every one of these cells, I believe, is a different transition metal. And in each one of these cells, it deals with a different type of gas that you have to get rid of in your body. Some of it might be ammonium type gases, and some of it is your carbon dioxide, and other ones are going to be, they call them carbonic acids. And what it does is, as it passes by these particular metals, transition metals, and I can't account for this exactly, but somehow it takes these carbonic acids and turns them into a gas, and they expel out of your body. They say there is up to 3,500 of these different gases in your body that you have to expel. That means that you have a ton of different chemistry here. Just one different type of cell here is not going to do all that. Hell no. There's all kinds of different chemistry in here, and I will show you exactly what I mean by one that was cut wide open here. All right, this is the same as that lung. All of those little pockets and holes fuse back and run together. You see the little inside pockets and holes that go in here? I don't know if you'll be able to see that now. But that is what a lung does. That's how they are. But that's the structure of the lung. That's not the gooey stuff that's inside the lung. This flushed all of that what they call volatile organic chemistry out and left the structural supporting chemistry in, which is mostly limestone, which is porphyritic limestone. It's got a lot of inclusions and so forth. Now, if it petrified in exactly the opposite condition, where the structural support, the limestone, calcium CaCO3, was attacked by something, and that left, but it left the blood. You see where all these little crackly looking spots are? That's where the blood is. That's blood. And you see all these little holes in these different colors there? Well, crystals now. But they were holes just like that at one time. And now they filled in with the transition metal colors that represent what that particular alveoli did. That's my thinking at this point now, because you see that orange is different from that, it's different from that, it's different from that, it's different from this, they're all all over the place, different crystals. That tells me it's different chemistry. And what is different? The difference is their transition metals, and the transition metals are the only thing that make the colors. So, if they're different transition metals, and I know the transition metals are the things that carry around the molecules in your body, holding with one single ligand electron. A single one. Can they take you down to the feet, and I will drop you off. That's what they do. Now, this is the chemistry of your body that is required for you to be healthy. If you don't have those transition metals in the correct places, that cell's not going to do its job. That cell's going to be blue or something, and you won't get the transfer of the nitrogen out of your body, whatever it is. Each one of them has it has an affinity for a certain molecule, right? And it will either detach or attach that molecule to a gaseous compound or to the blood coming in. It'll either be coming in and attaching to the blood, or it'll be leaving by de-attaching to the blood via this particular chemistry. Now, you die. These things are still empty. They're holes. Just like that. They're holes all over the place. You're dead. Now, this one flushed all kinds of bloody material down here, because the blood is where it has those metals. So this petrified in blood. Same as opals and same as agates. We're going to get back to them in a second. Now, this did not. This was not in a bloody condition. This was in some kind of acid or salts, whatever it was, that probably salts that took away the chemistry out of this, the volatile organic chemistry, into probably salty water solution. Right? Because salt is what preserves it, and the water is what takes away the explosiveness, the volatileness, and they go into solutions. So, and you can see there's still blood in there. See all that red stuff? That's blood. That's blood. There's actually crystals in here and there. I think there's one right up in here somewhere. There's a crystal there somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, there's one right there. See? That's what they do. They create crystals in these vugs. That's where diamonds and jewels and things come from. And why they grow in there is because of these transition metals. The transition metal is a seed, and that seed continues to grow with the same color of the seeds that are in that cell. That's the only way I can see it. Now let me show you why I'm talking all this, and we're going to go into the reason between agates and opals. They're virtually the same thing, and some of them are in the same. They're right in the same little package when you see it. There's agate and opal together. Now, I just showed you my lung. I'm not going to tell you where this research is coming from, but there are researchers doing research right now on the biomarkers that are inside lungs. That's exactly what you're seeing inside of this lung, is the same chemistry. Only this, I believe, is either in living tissue or recently biopsied. And they're looking for biomarkers that say, if this isn't orange here, the guy's sick. If that blue spot is there, well, he's got a problem. Maybe that blue spot's supposed to be there. I don't know. They have to figure this stuff out. But if they don't start looking, they're never going to figure it out. These guys are looking. I know who it is. But I'm not going to tell you. We go to Agates and Opals. Now, this is a page from nature.berkeley.edu talking about the differences between agates and opals. Now, what is the difference? Almost nothing at all. And here's why I say that. What is agate? The only difference really that I can come up with is agate is finely crystalline, microcrystalline quartz. All right, now, opal is made from essentially amorphous non-crystalline material. It's made from cellular material. So the difference is opals are made from little cellular inclusions that take on the transition metal of that cell. I'm going to show you that in a second. Agate fills in holes with a lot of silicates that have different colors and so forth, but the hole is there. It's just a hole. Now the other things are opals are in tiny little packages. That's why they have all that flash to them. Totally different than this, but from the exact same molecules. All right, here's the deal. All creatures, all life, all living organisms, as far as I'm aware, consist of cells, and a lot of them, have cell walls, which are your plant materials, and then you have other ones that have cell membranes. Plants have both cell walls and cell membranes. The cell walls allow the plant to fill up this with a certain amount of moisture, causing it to bend and twist. This one gets filled up, this one doesn't. It pushes more this way. It's called turgidity. Now, what else do you see here? You see these cell membranes. Cell membranes means that in every one of these little boxes, there is a series of organelles and different moisture and different minerals and material that's in there. Now, they always thought the cells are all the same. All the cells just look and do the same thing. No, I don't think so. Well, now, let me put it away. That's wrong. That's wrong. I'm saying that totally is not true. They don't understand the complexity of cells. Let me put it that way. They say, oh, this is a muscle cell, this is a that cell, this is that. Well, there's a lot more to it than that, because all of this in here, I think, each one of these cells looks to me like it has a specific chemical. You see that yellow one there? You see that yellow one there? You see the orange one? You see the orange one? You see the orange one? You see the blue one? You see the blue one? You see the blue one? Why? Why? I could tell you why. Because it has taken on a different transition metal and grown that transition metal within its cellular membrane. Now, why? This is what I mean. Think like a 2-year-old. Think like a 3-year-old. Why'd that happen? Daddy? So, well, son, the transition metals migrated into that little box there. So why'd that happen, Daddy? Well, son, there was an affinity to attract that particular chemistry. Well, what's an affinity, Daddy? That means it wanted it to come in there and attach to it. It said, I want you here. I want you, silicon with aluminum in it. I want you in here. But you other guys can't come. You say, why can't the other guys come? Well, so they don't have the right molecules. So how does he decide which one has the right molecules? Well, son, the right molecules are because it is a certain element. And a certain element means it has a certain number of electrons in the orbitals around the center of it. And those little electrons need to have other ones that are friends of theirs so they can attach to them, and then they all become happy together. They call that stability. It's like me and you and Mommy. We're a stable family. If we were together, if you went away, Mommy and I would be unhappy. If I went away, I hope you would be unhappy. I don't know about Mommy. Anyway, son, it's stability. Each one of these little boxes wants to be stable. They want to be comfortable. They want to be happy. They want to find a partner for life. And it says, the only one I want is this one right here, is silicon, aluminum, da la la. Okay, Daddy, that makes sense. It does? No, anyway, what it is each one of these boxes only can be happy with a certain type of chemistry. And you say, oh, that's just accidental. They're all bumping into there accidentally. And I say, well, let's just see about that, my friend, in a heart. Now, does that look accidental to you? That's a heart. Now, you're saying, look at all these colors. This is an opalized heart, comes from the Yoa region in Australia, which is the higher lands region. Most of the stuff is marine fossils. This is a heart from a terrestrial creature. The other things are shells and nautiluses and all that business, which is also marine organic chemistry. They say, oh, that's not organic, it's a seashell. Of course it's organic. The sea creature built it out of cells. That's why they're all opalescent, flashy and all that. Now, so let's talk about this. Why is that blue like that, or that color, whatever color you call that, turquoise? And it's exactly perfect in those particular chemistry there. Why is that? And then there's other places. Why is this brown like that? And why is this color? And why are these all these different little colors? And why is this? We know that's blood because it's in the center of the heart. And why is all these little different colors in here? Well, I can tell you all of the reasons for all of these things is because of the chemistry that is in your body is so specific that every bit of your tissue needs an exact chemical complement to do its job. And if it's not there, you're sick. You're chronically ill. You may be able to just thump, 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 thump with a orange layer here instead of blue, but you're not going to be healthy. You're not going to be able to run that mile. Whatever it is, the chemistry has to be right. And if the chemistry's not right, you're sick. I go over this all the time. I can't help myself. It's the transition metals, and they're in the blood, and if they're not in the blood in the right quantities, you're going to be sick. And the only way they're going to be in the blood in the right quantities is if you have enzymes to break down and crack molecules that come in, and the only way you have enzymes is if you have the bacteria, and the only way you have the bacteria in your gut is if you were healthy and never killed them with antibiotics. Once you destroy your gut, and you destroy the things that are working for you, the bacteria that's breaking down things, they create the enzymes, they create the actual chemistry that breaks these molecules apart so that your body can use them. And if it's not broken apart, your body can't use them. And that is no question whatsoever. And I'm going to tell you something right now. One single one of these little enzyme molecules breaks 10,000 other molecules per second. Per second. 10,000. All right? So it's doing work for you. And if you don't have them, you're in trouble. This is a case closed. You know, your skin is going to be itchy, your eyes are going to twitch, you know, you're going to have all kinds of problems. Toenails are going to give you this. And I mean, your body is so specific that your feet and the skin on your fingers and toes is grip skin. The other skin is thin skin, and you have eyelid skin, and you have lip skin, and you have, I mean, it is so complex, the chemistry. And I know all of it because I see every single bit of it in my mud fossils. I see things no doctor will ever see. Ever. They will never understand the things that I understand. Never. Because I have the actual body after it preserves itself in a manner that I'm able to go back and do virtual CAT scans with the actual chemistry, the actual molecules, the limestone, the calcium. You see, I know what your skin is made out of. I know what your organs are made of. I know what your muscles are made out of. I know where your connective tissues are made out of. I know what every bit of you is made out of. Every single molecule in your body has a function. They cause, trace metal. I don't trace things, just run around it by accident. No. That is the problem with you people. You have no clue about these transition metals. There's almost 100 of them. See, here I go. I'm going crazy. I can't help myself. All right, I'm going to go away from that. You got to pay attention to transition metals. That's why you have these colors. That's why you have opals. That's why you have agates. This is metals in the systems. And it's so obvious how important they are and how overlooked this is. When they say, oh, there's only a little of this and a little of that, well, you don't need much. The iridium, you have iridium in your body. Oh, it only comes from outer space. No, it doesn't. It comes from inside your body. And primarily, it's in your skin. And the other thing that's primarily in your skin is silicon and aluminum. And there's other things that are primarily skin components. And then you go into the fleshy components of the clay, of the mud, of the red, bloody clay that you see on the ground. Before that, you see sand. That's the silicon. Silicon is your body protection from the elements. That is coats your body almost. All your skin is heavily infused with silicon. 50 times more silicon in your skin than the rest of your body. Your bones go bad in salt water because salt water invades the tissue membrane that isolates your bones in your body. Because your body is 7.35 to 7.45 pH, which is a taste on the salty side. And your body loves that. Your body just thinks everything's fine when it's at pH. Because there's so much of your body that's inert. Like your tendons, basically, are almost inert. Your blood vessels and all that, once they're established, they're basically inert. They don't interact with anything, really. They say, stay away from me, I stay away from you. All I do is let blood come through here. Your connective tissues are just very, very tough, strenuous, strappy, fibrous things that don't want to be gushy. They're just tough as hell. Now, those are the things that petrify in a certain way under certain conditions, and that the fleshy, gooey stuff petrifies in a different way under other conditions. Yeah, it's a very complex dance, but it's easily understood once you really study it. I mean, you got to study it. I'm not saying you just pick something up and you know it in 10 minutes. No, absolutely not. It's a big process of understanding the anatomy, understand the biology, understand the chemistry, understand the conditions that it was put under, understand the heat, the geothermal stuff, all the solvomorphism, all of the time elements. It's was it impacted? Was it not impacted with mud? There's so much to it, but it's really. It's fun, really. I mean, it's a whole new thing to investigate, and it's being treated like we don't want to do that. We don't want to investigate that. We don't look at that. Why? All right, agate. A lot of times you see it in geodes, and what happens is a geode is basically a big ball that has almost like a silicon core. I've been showing these. These are the tendon balls. And that is where the tendon ball strap would have attached. And this was more or less an empty core. They empty out somehow from some chemistry that takes it out. And I think it's geothermal. And then the geothermal activity brings back in other chemistry that gives it colors, amethysts and all these different blues and oranges and all these different colors. But it's primarily open cavities that fill in with different silicates that have different metals attached to them, because the metals are what makes the colors, you see. But this is a different story than the opal that I showed you, that is the cellular opal. So, back to the most spectacular agate on Earth. This actually is a lung. And this is the black and the red that is in the lungs. I've shown this many times over and over, the black and the red, as the blood transfers back and forth. All the cells are there. So, is that an opal? Or is that an agate? Huh? There's a lot of open holes there that filled up. There's a lot of tissue there that didn't fill up. I'm going to have to call that agatable.